Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to our BARC webinar. Today, everything's about leveraging data products with smart data catalogs, data marketplaces, and data intelligence. And today, we learn how data intelligence platform can help us be more efficient with data assets, of course, and how to manage the data product lifecycle. And I'm very excited to be your host today. My name is Tim Grosser. I've been with BARC for 15 years right now, and I'm focusing on all metadata management topics here at BARC, evaluating a lot of data catalogs and also supporting companies to choose the right one and implement the right one to be successful with their metadata. But first of all, I have to give you a quick definition about what data intelligence is really about to set your expectations right. So let's have a look. What the heck is data intelligence? If we ask, or referring to our survey from the last year Data Mesh, a game changer or just so there, we asked the people there how relevant data intelligence really is. And as you can see, 96% say, wow, it's a very relevant topic for us. So nearly everybody agrees that's a very important topic. But that's only the one side of view. Here we have also other side where companies out there are really struggling to put it on a strategic and enterprise-wide level. That's the dark side of data intelligence. So everybody know it. We need data intelligence, but it's really hard and it's really challenging to implement it to get most of it. But what is data intelligence? So data intelligence is not about touching data, crunching data, manipulating data, processing data. It's more about gathering information about data or data products to create transparency regard to profile classification and so on, to help various kinds of users really to find, understand, to trust data, to be successful with data. That's the main purpose of data intelligence, to get a trusted, reliable, and valuable data foundation that is effective, efficient, in an active manner. So we are not looking for software that only gather information. I think that's also a very important part. It's also about using this knowledge to get most of it, to really activate this wisdom or this knowledge, to apply it to the data to get the most beneficial output of it. And today, I'm also very excited and thank also to our sponsors of this webinar, Zinea Alex Solutions precisely, to see those three vendors and how they approach leveraging data products. And for this, and you know it from the last years, we do this webinar year by year, they get time for a 20-minute presentation that includes a short introduction of themselves, but most time will be spent on a demonstration to a briefing we have shared before to make those presentations comparable. After this 20 minutes, we have 5 minutes left for questions and answers, and I really invite you to use the Q&A section on your right-hand side of the screen to place your questions there, because we will pick up some of the questions in this 5-minute time frame and answer them directly in the talk here. Questions that are left will be answered afterwards or by the vendors in the chat during the whole show here today. But now let me jump to the content here. So as I mentioned before, we have placed some key questions because data intelligence platform cover much more functionality and capabilities, from exporting metadata, putting every information or stitching information pieces together to search discovery, collaboration, data governance use cases, data marketplace use cases, business user enablement, and to provide all this metadata to be really successful with data. But because we have only 20 minutes time today, we would like to focus on most relevant questions that we've learned what are also critical for the users out there if they start their journey with the data intelligence platform. And first of all is about user adoption and to make this tool really usable and easy to use, to find and understand the data assets, the data products really intuitively. And one of the main functions here It's very basic, but it's search and discovery. It must be easy. It must be intuitive. It must be Google-like or something like that, so that everybody really could use it. Is it a user who has no technical background, a normal business user, to a power user who already has some technical knowledge, up to IT people or data engineers who are really technical experts at the end. Everybody of them have their own speech, have their own ways to find information, and we would like to see here today how easy it really is. And second part here, with search and discovery, is how to get transparency, and in other words, how to get trust in data. It's the second topic here. Second one is data collaboration, because especially if you think about data products, several kind of users come together. We have data product owners, we have data product consumers, we have also legal entities in place, we have only data security officers, we have different personas in the whole company that all need information about data. They all need really to work together to get a successful data product implementation in the company, starting from a data product requirements analysis to data product strategy management, up to the utilization of data products. And a data intelligence platform really could help here to get smooth and efficient processes. The third one here is data stewardship. A data intelligence platform doesn't work without any kind of metadata. So data curation and really, or metadata with a good quality, stitched together very good, is most efficient for the users out there, and makes the most comprehensive, or brings up the most comprehensive search results. And of course, we cannot leave it out. How could AI and copilots really help in these three tasks here? I'm really looking forward to see what's still working and what not here. So let me up with the last slide here to give you also, from my point of view, a short characterization of the vendors we will see. And I'm very happy to see vendors from 3 continents here. If we look at the origin and the headquarters, Cinea is our European vendor here, Alex from Australia, precisely from America. It's very great. It's very international. But let's say me some word about Cinea. So Cinea is a small startup company, very simple. They are very scalable, very focused, I would say it so, on their core competencies. In all, it's a metadata management platform with a focus of discovery, search discovery, and provisioning data assets. And recently, they also changed their focus a bit towards data marketplaces and also providing data products, and put a strong emphasis also on this. If we evaluate platforms like Cinea, we see simple customization and a good ecosystem integration. What's really needed, because Cinea has less capabilities in governance, but cooperates with partners to fill this gap, for example. So it's the system in between. Alex Solutions, the library of Alexandria, keeper of knowledge, from Australia, has main focus on governance, I would say. It's a pioneer in data catalog, risk and compliance solutions. It's completely in-house built and includes really a lot of functionality, reaching from search discovery to cover governance functionality, collaboration functionality, and so on. Also data quality functionality is included here. But what makes this solution special, it's all in-house built and it's integrated, easy to use. It's up to you to say if it's easy to use or not. I think it's easy to use, and it's put strong emphasis on being social, automation, and personalization. Precisely, the last one here is a combination of best of breed tools. No, not today. It's a combination of best of breed tool. Its origin is best of breed. So we have Synthor, Trillium, Pitney Bowes included here, all brought together in one, all expertise brought together in one big platform that covers much more than data intelligence. You could buy it precisely only for data intelligence, but there's much more included here, like data integration, observability, governance, quality, everything with the purpose to become or to get real data integrity in the overall company. And Precisely has also a special focus on data quality management and stewardship. That is where they are really strong. And with having that said, I leave it up to you to make up your own opinion. And I really would like to start with Zinair. As I said, 20 minutes for each vendor. Then we will follow with Alex Solutions. Precisely will end up the show, and I take the last 5 minutes for some closing words. And Guillaume, are you there?
I'm good, thank you.
Wonderful.
Good morning to everyone. Hopefully my speaker is working, because we had a couple of technical issues to connect. So I'm going to start with a couple of slides just to explain how we structure the information in Zinair and what is the marketplace in Zinair. So a couple of words on myself. So I'm one of the co-founders of the company. I'm heading the product and engineering activity in the company. Zinair, just a quick tour of the company. So we were founded in 2017, HQ in and we've been acquired. So it's really recent. It was last week. So we've been acquired by Actian, which is a division of HCL Tech. Is an actor in the data platform landscape. We are operating mostly in Europe, but most of the customers are outside of France. And we are mostly working with large companies having complex organization. What we provide, we actually provide two things. We provide a data catalog and an enterprise data marketplace. There is a lot of overlap in terms of functionality between data catalog and enterprise data marketplace. What we call an enterprise data marketplace is a system where you share, consume, explore, and of course shop for data products or other data items that might be shared by various domains. So it's pretty close to the data catalog, but what you put in the marketplace is mostly the curated assets that are actually ready for consumption. And what you put in there, of course, is a way to shop for it. So it's not so much about functionality difference, but more different scope and different user experience. In Zinair, we have two different front end. One we call Zinair Studio, so you can see it like the back office tool for metadata management and data stewardship activities. And we have Zinair Explorer with the consumer side of Zinair, and which is designed really to have a very simple user experience focused on exploring, searching the content of the catalog or the marketplace, and then shopping for the relevant items. A couple of things about the architecture of Zinair. This is typical architecture you have when you try to put a data marketplace in place. So you have the data catalog, and then marketplace is another component on top of the data catalogs. What we have decided is to create the marketplace within Zinair. So Zinair is really is completely based on a knowledge graph. So every metadata that enters into the system is actually connected to our metadata in the catalog, and we have implemented the marketplace by splitting the catalog, the graph, into subgraphs. Each graph can be managed by different domains, different teams, where they can actually connect to their own data source, integrate their own metadata, design their own metadata, and then they can decide to share some of the items they have in their own catalog into a marketplace that is accessible to everybody in the organization. So really the idea is to you don't have to only share data products. You can share whatever valuable assets you create in your domain. So it can be, of course, data products, can be data sets, of course, but it can be also dashboards or even machine learning models. Whatever valuable you create in your domain and can be shared with other domains goes into the marketplace. And then you use Zinair Studio to do the back office activities in the catalog, and Zinair Explorer to search for items in the marketplace or in the domains if you have access to it. In terms of information architecture, as I told you, this is completely based on the graph. So everything is connected. The content of the marketplace is not different from the content of the catalog in the various domains. It's not disconnected from this content. It's just shared and exposed to other people in the organization. And the idea is really to give each domain autonomy in designing their own catalog, organizing their data, crawling and curating their own data source, managing user permission, and of course decide what they want to share with the rest of the organization. All right, and a small word on data products, because we'll be talking about data products. We have a very the definition of data products we have in Zinnia is very close to the literature on data mesh. So we see a data product as a bundle that will contain data processes, data, and that will expose this data through output ports, consume data through input ports, and also provide other interface for control, discovery, observability, and so on. A data product, as we see it in Zinnia, is really a bundle that you deploy on your data platform to serve data to various domains. All right, let's jump into the demos. I'm going to share my screen. So as I told you, we have two user interfaces in Zinnia. We have Zinnia Studio and Zinnia Explorer. I will start with Zinnia Explorer. Zinnia Explorer is the consumer side of Zinnia. So this is really focused on search and explore the content of the catalog. So of course, we organize the information. So this is a landing page for Zinnia Explorer, and there are various ways to enter into the catalog. Of course, there is a search bar. I will develop this part later on, but there are other ways to enter into the catalog. We have something we call the topics. So the topics are areas in the catalog that contain certain types of items, and you don't want to search everywhere in the catalog, but you want to only search into a sub area of the catalog. You can enter into a topic, and you will scope Zinnia Explorer to this topic. So it's very similar to shelves in a grocery store, for instance. So you have different shelves, and you will choose which shelf you want to search in. One of those topics is the marketplace. So in Zinnia, the marketplace is a virtual space that contains all the items that have been shared by the various domains. The topics themselves are created in Zinnia Studio. So this is not something that comes out of the box. Each customer will decide which topics he wants to create and which topic he wants to expose to end users. So and every user then can pin their topics of interest to them. Other ways to enter into the catalog. In Zinnia, the meta model, so the structure of the catalog, is completely open. This is not something that is predefined by Zinnia. We come with a very basic meta model that contains only a couple of items and very limited attributes, and everything else you design it in Zinnia Studio. So which kind of items you want to use to organize the information in your catalog. You also provide all the attributes, all the properties, all the metadata you want to manage on top of the items, and you also define the relationship between the various items. So that's how we created a knowledge graph inside Zinnia, by adding types of nodes and connecting the nodes to other nodes. And this is another way for end users to enter and explore the content of the catalog, is to go through the various item types that have been created, and that allow them, for instance, if your focus is on finding an application and understanding which data sets or which data products are produced by this application, you will enter through the application path, and then you will have access to all the application. You can search for application and then review the data sets that are attached to this application. And the third way to enter into the catalog is to enter through the semantic layer. The semantic layer in Zinnia is also an ontology, so it's a knowledge graph as well. This is not a simple glossary. This is really an ontology. So you define your concept, the attribute of these concepts, and you connect those concepts together, defining the relationship that bind them together. All right, so let's start with the searching. The best way we have the search engine is something we are working a lot on in Zinnia. So we have a pretty sophisticated search engine that is leveraging also semantic search and that is leveraging the structure of the graph, not only to look for simple indexed items, but also to look at how these items are connected to other items, and to really compute ranking that will order the search results. So here I've just looked for customers in all items. I could have scoped to a certain topic, of course, so I could be only searching in the marketplace, or it can be, depending on my permissions, I will have more or less scope to search in the catalog. I can also filter. So this is faceting on the left. Faceting is dynamic, so the filters you can use depend on the results of the search. And I can, for instance, click on a visualization. So I will just reduce the search results to a certain type of items. Visualization is how we call the dashboard and reports and the widgets that we also harvest from BI tools, for instance. So let's dig into a visualization. So you will find a set of information. All the information, all the metadata is actually defined by you, as well as the description, of course. You also attach every item. You can attach it to items in the semantic layer to provide context around this report, for instance. And you also manage, of course, the people that have different roles in your governance framework attached to this item. We provide complete lineage to all of this. The lineage, of course, gives you information about the provenance of the data. Data is used in this dashboard, so it's sourced by several datasets, and you can go deep into the lineage. All the lineage is harvested and created automatically by connecting to ETL tools or pipeline technologies that you use to move and transform the data in your platform. And you have access to a view of the item in the graph. So this is a graph view. So for every item in the catalog, you always can see the underlying graph. So all the items it's been connected to. You can filter the type of items or the type of relationship, and you can, of course, expand to do some kind of jump exploration of the content of the catalog. Of course, I've watched visualization. I have over types of items. So, for instance, datasets. They are usually important. You can go to the customer datasets. I will see their field, the data model, the lineage, and so on. So I have this is the end user experience. We have a pretty sophisticated search engine, so you can, for instance, look at sales. There is quite a lot of results. So I could define to have sales and reports. I could define to say sales reports, or I can even be more precise in my search, and so on. So I can use various. So there is a very simple way to search, that is just using keywords, and there is a lot of options in the search bar that you can use to refine and control a little bit more how the search engine responds. So this is really for the part related to exploring, consuming the information in the catalog in the marketplace. Let's go to Zinnia Studio, that is the back office part of Zinnia. So Zinnia Studio is, well, of course, is plugged on the same knowledge graph. That is where the data stewards will actually design the structure of the catalog, but also create the connectors so that you can automatically harvest the metadata from the various operational system, organize the information, and curate all the data, all the data sets, providing the business definition, linking them, and so on. There are various ways to use one of the important parts is that depending on your profile, you might have access to one or more catalogs. I told you Zinnia is based on a federated knowledge graph. So this federation, maybe some users will be allowed to manage only one subcatalog, and you have others that can manage more than one catalog. So the way to do that is that you scope Zinnia Studio to the catalog you want to manage. So for instance, the sales catalog, and then you will manage the content of this catalog. The marketplace itself is where you will find the items that have been shared by the various domains. So for instance, you see on this with this badge that this item has been shared. Once it is shared, it is put in the marketplace, and then in Zinnia Explorer, anyone having access to the marketplace will be able to search and review those items. Sharing, of course, is very simple. This is just an action. This one can be unshared or shared, and you can allow your data stewards to do so. In Zinnia, when you are in Zinnia Studio, when you arrive, you are on a dashboard, and this is where you will organize your work as a data steward. So there are various ways to do that. Of course, you have some metrics about how well documented is the perimeter you are responsible for, and you can also create watch lists. And watch lists are just list of items you have something to do on. So for instance, I have a very simple watch list here, but for instance, I have the watch list for all datasets that are below 50% of completion on their documentation. So those are datasets I should look at to improve the documentation and the completion of the metadata. You can create your own watch list, and you will refine your search in the catalog area. An important part of Zinnia is connectivity. I've not talked about it too much, but Zinnia is completely automated in terms of harvesting metadata. Actually, you cannot create manually data product or data sets in Zinnia. You have to connect to a data platform and to harvest this information from the data platform, and then it will be automatically synchronized overnight to make sure that the content of the catalog always reflects the content of the operational systems. One last thing I will show you is how to design the catalog. So this is something you do in catalog design. So this is something you need, of course, special permission to design the catalog. And as I told you, in Zinnia, out of the box, there is only a very limited number of items you can create and manage in Zinnia. So that's dataset under fields, visualization, dashboards, data processes. This is the processes that are dealing with data, so transformation or copy and so on, and the data products. So that's the 4 item types we have in Zinnia, and then you can create as many item types as you want to organize the information and provide more context on top of these low-level assets. So here I have a couple of items like application, department, geographical location, policy, and so on. I can create as many custom items as I want. I can then link the custom items to other types of items in my meta model, and I can define the properties or attributes or metadata I will manage on top of each item type. So for instance, this is done through the templates, so I can create sections and add properties to those sections. I can also create new properties of various types and define how they will be managed automatically, integrated, how they will be handled by a search engine, and so on. So Zinnia Studio is really where you design the catalog and you do all the collaboration between the various domains and the global organization. Maybe one more thing is analytics. That analytics is, of course, a key component in data intelligence, is that you need analytics on your metadata. Remember that metadata is just data about your data. This is the same thing as you manage data on your customers in your CRM system. In the metadata management system, you manage data about your data with more or less the same benefits. That is, properly managing data gives you control on what's happening, gives you the opportunity to define your process, to control what's happening, to improve the performance of your data management activities, and so on. So managing data on top of a business process is key to automate and to improve the performance of this process. So with analytics, you will get insight on how healthy your metadata management platform is. So I'm not going to dig into all the capabilities of the analytics part, but one of the key KPI we're using is the completion level that is computed internally to represent how well documented is an item in the catalog. And create your own widgets to provide more insights on the content of the catalog. My 20 minutes are over, so I will stop here. Take the Q&A now or later on, Tim. So you're mute. You're mute, Tim, I think.
Then I can talk a lot. That's right.
That,
That's true.
that's
First of all, thank you a lot, Guillaume, for this presentation, the insights you give us to the Zinea platform. And yes, we will go on with the Q&A. And there's one question, but I'm unsure if we could answer it within 1 minute here. So, but I would like to forward it to you. How does your knowledge graph tech stack look like? Is it something you could really answer in a minute?
what is the question? Sorry, didn't get the question.
How does your knowledge graph tech stack look like?
Test stack? I'm sorry.
Tech stack. This is, I think that's a technical view on your architecture, on your knowledge graph architecture.
Not sure I can answer this question because I don't really. I don't see the question.
Then maybe we will follow up with this one later, and I will put on another question here. I'm just wondering, what is your point of view about all this Copilot and AI discussions that's going around, and we see vendors coming up with here Copilot, their Copilot. How's the approach that Zinea takes, and what do you think? How major are those Copilots, and what's their benefit?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. This is something we are experimenting a lot. There's a lot of AI actually in Zinea, but it's not very visible and it's not really a copilot. We use it mostly for classification, for discovering new links in the graph and inferring them from the structure of the graph. So we are using machine learning to provide suggestion on improving the structure of the graph and improving the quality of metadata. In terms of Copilot, right now we are experimenting a lot around this, especially for instance, to generate business definitions or generate object description and so on. It's not working so well so far, and what we have discovered, and we will introduce this by the end of the year, is that it's working pretty properly if you already have a pretty decent semantic layer. So what we have decided is that what we have discovered is that the Copilot and the RAG approach or the suggestions on metadata improvement on the semantic layer requires that you have already a pretty decent context. Otherwise, you have a lot of hallucination or things that are irrelevant. So the first step, so that's what we are doing is that we activate those features once we have a certain level of semantic richness. So we compute, we have a richness score, the semantic layer, and once it's decent, we activate the more advanced algorithm that rely on the semantic layer. Otherwise, at the beginning, when you start Zinea, we use machine learning for classification, but not so much for higher level purpose, because most of the time the context is not sufficient.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
On the other side, yeah, I do believe that a very good semantic layer will is a way to feed machine learning models for AI-powered self-service analytics tomorrow. So that you can ask your data platform for insights. You can talk to your data. This is some kind of the holy grail of self-service analytics today. This will require a very strong semantic layer so that you remove ambiguity on the answer of your GenAI chatbot or assistant or copilot.
Thanks, Guillaume, for that answer. So I would say we have this one question open. We will forward it to you. Maybe we could put some information, and we will provide it with a recording after the show, so that every every question here also get answers. And for now, Guillaume, our time is over. For now, thanks again. Thanks again for your participation and the presentation here. So then we'll follow up with the next one. The next one is Alex Solution, our Australian colleagues, Jean-Paul and Clinton and Rishi. Hello,
Thanks,
Clinton
Tim.
and Rishi. Welcome you.
Hi there, Tim.
So
Glad to be here.
Wonderful, great to hear. So I will not take too much time. I leave the stage to you. Have fun. We see us later.
Okay, thank you very much. So my name's Clinton Jones, and with me is Rishi Deshpande. We're here today from Alex to show you how Alex handles data products and how we imagine them in the smart data catalog world, and also how the catalog can serve as a data marketplace and improve data intelligence. So for our show today, we're going to focus specifically on Snowflake and Power BI and how they're both represented in the catalog, and then how any business or technical user might use the catalog to support how they think about data, data products, and improved organizational data intelligence. So imagine that you're a retail company, a business with a cloud data platform running on Snowflake, and you're using Power BI for your reporting. Your data may be getting to Snowflake from somewhere else, and Rishi will show you that. But what you've done is you've enabled self-service reporting. And as a result, your business units have created thousands of dashboards over the years. But the challenge is that your KPIs and metrics are also scattered amongst those dashboards, and there's no central system of record. So what you want to do is you want to introduce distributed data governance, and you want to implement data products. But the question is, where do you start? And this is where our maturity and adoption framework model kicks in. And my colleague Rishi is now going to walk you through a journey of achieving distributed data governance and implementation of data products through the adoption of this maturity framework. Over to you, Rishi.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Clinton. So effectively, what we see here are the building blocks which will allow us to reach our end goal of implementing distributed data governance and eventually data products. Now, what we typically start with is establishing the data inventory, capturing the technical data lineage. And once we do that, we can start exploring things like the business glossary, which have our key KPIs, our metrics and terms. We then start looking into things like data ownership, data quality, data security, which effectively all lay the foundation or the groundwork for coming up with data products. So in today's presentation, we will take you through this journey of how you can come up with data products using the Alex tool. So let me jump into the Alex platform now. So like I said, the first step there is to start building the data inventory or the data catalog. And what we are looking at is the Alex Knowledge Graph. Now, the Alex Knowledge Graph gives me a comprehensive overview of the contents in the catalog. Now, as a part of that ingestion, Alex's automation using GenAI capabilities helps me organize this segment and classify them into different domains. For example, here we can see an AI-based classification, which has grouped all of the data within the catalog. Along with that, we can see that we have these filters on the right-hand side. Again, a lot of these filters are nothing but classifications, which help me further understand and organize the data that we have. Now, using Alex's integration with these different technologies, I can very easily navigate from the catalog, let's say, to the source technology of interest. So for example, I have a table here called Customer Master. From the data catalog, I have clear access to, let's say, the Snowflake platform straight away, if that's what I want to do. So effectively, there's a very tight-knit integration between the catalog and the source systems themselves. Now, once we have built the data catalog, the next step, if you remember, on our maturity framework is to start exploring things like the business glossary element. So what I want to start looking at here is how do I manage my key KPIs and metrics within the business? So I've navigated away to the Alex glossary, which will also, we will see in the future sections how it contributes to my marketplace. But this time, I'm interested to see all of my key KPIs that we are using in the business. So if I drill into my KPI marketplace here or my swim lane, I can see a bunch of these KPIs. And again, using Alex's GenAI capabilities, all of these KPIs have been automatically segmented into different domains. So as an example, I can use these filters and say that, hey, I'm interested in my financial performance KPIs, and you can quickly find that information. I want to show you an example of a KPI here. So if I start drilling into this KPI, and you'll see why I'm going into this area, is we have your standard descriptions and definitions and all of the metadata, such as the calculations. But what I want to draw your attention to is actually the relationships that our knowledge graph allows us to draw. So as an example, we can see that my key KPI is actually linked to a couple of data sets here. It's linked and associated with the underlying metrics that make them up. And a report that is used for this KPI is also available here through the related to section.
Okay. So you've linked to KPIs but have you shown me the data sets piece? Because ultimately you want a KPI to be tied to a data set, right? So
that's right.
How's that all tied into and aligned with distributed data governance as well?
Now, that's a great question, Clinton. Now, by linking your KPIs to your data sets, you're actually drawing a clear relationship between the underlying business metrics and the data sources that drive them, which is very crucial for decision making. And in a distributed governance environment, this allows different teams to take ownership of these data sets to ensure that the calculation for these key KPIs, which help me understand how my business is going, are properly governed. Now, I'll show you a very quick example of how these data sets are actually created from scratch using automation in the Alex tool. Now, there's several different ways in which you can do this, but one of my personal favorite ones is to actually leverage some of the usage or operational metadata that the Alex connectors capture for us. So as an example, if I look at my usage dashboard here, we can see on the left-hand side all of these different reports, and on the right-hand side, we can see who are the users. Now, effectively, what insights I want to draw from this dashboard are what are some of the most frequently accessed reports, so I can start my investigation of identifying critical data to come up with my data sets. So here I can see that the sales performance report and revenue by region report are some of the most highly accessed reports in here. So what I can do now is I can actually come back and start investigating those reports to trace where did the data for those reports come from and identify some of those key data elements. So what we are looking at right now is one of those reports, which is most highly accessed in my organization. And in addition to all of the metadata that we have captured, that's great. But what I'm interested is actually the lineage of how this report was actually put together. So what we'll see now is Alex's data lineage service, and it allows me to very easily understand and consume all of the different sources from where the data for my report actually originates from. So we can see the source is the CIM application. It passes the data on to the ETL, and then in the data warehouse, we prepare the data and pass it on to the reporting layer. Now, if I start investigating here, we have a couple of different databases that pass the data for my report. And if I drill into the curated layer, I have some visual representations to, again, very quickly identify that, hey, we have some verified tables that feed my report of interest. So I, as a user, can actually start very quickly coming in, maybe drilling into one of these tables here, and then assigning a tag that, hey, maybe the customer demographics table, which is highly rated and verified, should be a part of my customer segmentation data set. Now, again, using Alex's automation, what we can do is start grouping these different objects, such as tables, to come up with published data sets. So as an example here, we can see we have the customer segmentation data set. Effectively, it's a collection of a bunch of these different tables. And as we've done that, we have started ticking off some of the foundations, such as tracking the underlying data quality, understanding its privacy ratings, understanding its currencies, the KPIs that relate to it, the usage information, which is all very important when we start coming up with our data products. Now, there is another way in which we can come up with these data sets, and again, a completely automated way, is using Alex Gen AI capabilities, where the Gen AI can help me propose data sets based on capturing the underlying usage information, such as view definitions, data quality ratings, trust ratings, the knowledge graph associations to key reports. And based on all of that information, Alex has now presented me, let's say, an HR data set here, which is a collection of these 5 different tables. The AI also provides me some justification. So we can see that the AI has provided a detailed justification as to why I have grouped up all of these tables together. And it also gives me a reliability explanation, which is, again, key, tying back to the data quality insights, the privacy insights, the business curation that has happened, tells me that this is a highly reliable data set.
Okay, cool. So the data that you're showing us there, the words, are all Gen AI, right? They're all based on an analysis of content from the catalog or
That's
external
right.
catalog.
Yeah. And the
Okay.
beauty about that, Clinton, is Alex's Gen AI is completely configurable. We can point it at all of the underlying metadata that's captured in the catalog. So you're not limited to any information, but pretty much exposing our underlying metadata stores to the Gen AI.
Okay, great. And so what that also then means is that these data products or data sets could be single items, or they could be collections of items. It could be a combination of databases, tables, views, ETLs, reports, all could form that data product, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So that makes sense for dataset creation and data product creation. So how do we move to building data products in a more collaborative fashion? And what if the user, or say a consumer, can't find the linked data product that they're looking for?
Great question there, Clinton. So as you can see, we're building and growing from that maturity model. So we've established our data sets. I think before I answer that question, what I'll do there is I'm going to show you one of the first steps there is when consumers come in and try to find information. And if they don't find it, we have the workflow capabilities. And that's one of the ways in which people can start requesting a data product to be initialized. Now, effectively, the data products go beyond just a technical side. It requires detailed design and analysis, and the data steward typically drives a number of these activities. For example, the data steward needs to collaborate with the data quality teams to establish and understand the data quality. They need to liaise with the legal teams to establish your data sharing agreements, your data usage agreements. You have other metadata that helps further help people understand the data product. So effectively, there is a series of these collaborative capabilities that the data steward needs to go through, and they're guided using the Alex workflow that we've seen there. So what I'm going to do now is I'll jump to our marketplace and show you a published data product, and we can highlight some of the things that the steward has collaboratively put together by liaising with a number of different stakeholders within the organization. So accessing the marketplace is pretty straightforward in Alex. You can see your categories on the left-hand side. The first one there is are the published data products. So I can start entering my data product there itself. I can very easily start searching and filtering. As you've seen, there's a lot of automation in the Alex tool. Again, here we have some AI proposed classifications for the data product. So I can see that, hey, I'm interested in the customer related data products, and I can quickly narrow down on that. Another pretty cool capability there when it comes to searching, we have integration with chatbots as well. So just as an example here, even if I don't have access to the data catalog, I can actually use my Teams chatbot and say that, hey, can you show me any data products that are related to the customer detail? And what this does is actually it goes and searches the marketplace and then will present some of the top results back into my chat so that I can leverage, I can read about the descriptions, I can open them in the Alex tool, or I can simply click on the related URL, which will then give me access. But again, this shows how we make it pretty easy for people to discover the data products by embedding that into their processes. But coming back here, I said that I'm going to show you a published data product, and we'll see some of the key use cases that the data steward has collaboratively put together. So firstly, here we have a customer details data product. We can see a very detailed description. We can see from a governance perspective that distributed governance angle coming in, where we have responsible business units defined, the owners and the stewards defined, as well as some ratings. Now, what I'll show you next is the collaborative aspect of sourcing all of this information. So we have things like security classifications, we have business criticality, we have the data quality ratings, and we have the SLAs. So liaising with the data product team, they need to define the refresh frequencies, the SLAs that keep up this data product. And lastly, from the legal side as well, you have your usage agreements and sharing agreements that have all been aggregated into this data product. So the data steward was responsible for driving all of these activities in collaboration as a part of that workflow before a product gets initialized. Now that we've seen some of the, sorry, Clinton, yeah. So now that we've seen some of the metadata along this, I want to maybe spend just the next couple of minutes on the governance of the data product. Now, this is where Alex shines as well, is we can typically start as a part of the data steward activity is start defining a conceptual view of how this data product is actually constructed. And here's another pretty cool visualization where we can see that we have a concept of producer, processor, and consumer. So if I start looking at this conceptual view of my data product, I can see that the CRM application is my producer for my data product. I can see that the processor here, which has some visual cues that I'll come back to in a second, but we can see the data product itself is a part of my retail domain. It copies the data from the CRM as a raw layer. And then we have the customer details data product. And these are the elements that make up my data product. Now, from a governance perspective, what we can start doing is actually linking the rules and controls on each and every element that makes up my data product to ensure its accuracy, its validity. So in this case, for customer credit card, you can see you have a data retention control, you have a completeness check, you have a validity check. And since all of these were passed, I have the visual representation saying that it's DQ approved, and this is the authoritative source. What you also see on your screen here is another sub-product related. So if someone does not want access to the entire data product, we have a subset of the same data product, which is customer ages. So instead of getting access to the entire product, you now have access to a subset of that. But yeah, Clinton, I'll pass. You had a question?
Yeah. So this is quite interesting. Now you've shown me the same data, but through a number of different lenses, right? So you showed it to me through a knowledge graph. You showed me some detail through the business glossary or the detailed view of a particular asset. And then you showed me different business data flows based on different needs of the business. So you showed me a producer, consumer view, for example, and you showed me I think you showed me a technology based view as well, where you showed me CRM and then you showed me my staging environment. So that's great. I have lots of different ways of understanding the content within the catalog. It's all the same stuff, right? But what if I have found the thing I'm looking for and now I want access? How can you help me with that?
Yeah,
again, so 1 or 2 minutes left.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tim. So I think access request is pretty straightforward. You can hit the request access button. We integrate that with your service desk of choice. In this case, you have Jira. We can do that with things like ServiceNow as well. I think another thing that I wanted to really quickly cover, Clinton, is the governance aspect. So here what we see is the governance per data product, but I think what sets Alex apart here is our enterprise reporting applications where people can actually track the governance across all of the data products and see its progress. So here we can see that there's around 3,000 odd assets across these different business domains, which all make up my data product. So we can actually start seeing, hey, in the last year, how the growth on the assets have been, the trends with the steward, with the owners, and how many number of assets have been verified. We can drill into the ownership assignment as well. So as an example here, we can start seeing the number of stewards assigned, unassigned objects. So again, giving me that holistic kind of view on how ownership is actually spread across.
Okay, perfect. So I think we're at time, but you've covered quite a lot of ground there. Have we got any questions, Tim?
Yes, first of all, let me thank you. I really like your dialogue style, really great approach to structure the presentation, really great. I enjoyed it. And now let's come to the questions here. So we have a question. Does it, referring to the lineage part here, does the data in the lineage have to be maintained manually, or is it possible to connect to SSIS or Microsoft Fabric, for example? I think that's the first part of the question. The second one, I will read it out here also. Are ETL transformation steps between the source systems and the data sets also taken into account?
Yeah, great question. I think I've tried to emphasize that bit, that the entire data inventory and the lineage is completely automatically captured by the connectors. We have dedicated ETL connectors which are able to parse the underlying logic, your transformation logic, and then depict the data lineage at the column level. We take it a step further. We represent that logic in Alex. We also pass that on to the Gen AI, so we improve the readability on that. So if people don't understand complex transformation logic, you can use the Gen AI to actually provide you simple English level descriptions of what transformation is happening.
I'll also add to that we have some customers who do what we call top-down catalog curation as well, where they actually bring logical assets into the catalog and basically build the catalog from the top down rather than the bottom up. And then, of course, the perfect model is where you combine both.
So based on your user role, you can start either at the conceptual logical level and then start drilling down to the technical catalog.
So a lot of those items, for example, in the data lineage view, as we pointed out, you had the producer consumer, for example, and you had the technology elements. Those are top down typically. They don't have to be, but they often are.
Let me extend the question a bit, just wondering, because many of my customers do not have a standard data integration tool in place, or a central place of where all logic is stored consistently. They operate more with SQL code, Python code, and so on to bring different steps within the data transformation together. What is your approach to get to those kind of logic and put it into the lineage?
Fantastic. So I think one of our latest releases, Tim, has been our Open Meta Hub. So through our Open Meta Hub, you can think of that as the orchestration engine. We are exposing our connectors, which is our ETL framework for harvesting metadata. So effectively, we can point our SQL parser at any kind of SQL code. We can write custom scripts using Python itself to parse different program languages, bring that all of that in, and it's all controlled through our data hub. So having that Open Meta Hub is you're opening the world of possibilities of curation, of enrichment using any programming language that you want, write any scripts that you want and automate that, right? So you're not just restricted to the 100-odd connectors that we have, but pretty much any technology, you can write any kind of code to kind of process that and overlay that on top.
And those connectors that we have are for databases, reporting tools, ETL tools, and we can even look at the logs, for example, of certain applications to build metadata.
Yep.
Thank you for the answer. Unfortunately, we are running out of time here. 5 minutes is a very short time. Yes, let me thank you for the good presentation here. It was very wonderful and also very exciting to listen to you here. Thanks for all the insights, and please keep also a look into the Q&A section if any more questions will arise, and answer if it works here. So thanks a lot. Then I would like to hand over to Precisely and welcome John, Paul, and Marco. Hello.
Hello. Hello, Tim.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning. So, as I said, I will not steal so much time. The stage is yours. Have fun. We will see us later.
Thank you. First of all, apologies for my voice, but I catched the cold yesterday. The good news is I will not speak too long. I will just give some context in front of the before the presentation and the demonstration that Marco will do. So, Precisely has been already presented by Tim. Thank you for that, Tim. What I can say is that I'm leading data strategy services because we have at Precisely we are providing software, but we are also providing data and strategic services. So to put some context about the on the demonstration, you will see we are promoting what we call a data excellence framework. And data excellence is all about making data fit for purpose. So this is a business first approach that we promote to our customer, focusing on business value, so on critical data, business critical data, and certainly well, when we look at the market today and a lot of customers or prospects that I see, some of them have already onboarded a data catalog. But one of the big challenge today is user adoption and to be sure that everybody will take benefit of this data catalog and of this new environment, because we are talking about transformation of the company to be more data driven and to manage data as an asset. So it's not a, as you know, it's not only a question of technology, but it's about processes and people and roles and responsibility. And this is change management. So we have a framework where our platform will indeed play a central role, but our objective to make this platform is management to any collaborator. And so if you go to the next slide, Marco, this platform will serve as a one-stop shop for any data-related subject that we can have in the company. Meaning, it could be the CEO asking himself, what is the level of fit for purpose data that I have to reach this strategic ambition? What is the status of our data strategy today? What are the level of maturity? You see all this information should be in. What is the level of quality that I can expect in this report or in this data product? What are our record of processing activities concerning personal data? All these questions, what are the critical data for this process? Meaning, what is the risk of this process due to poor data quality, for example? All these questions should be answered. And this is answered thanks to our platform and our flexible data model, meta model, where we put everything as I said, a one-stop shop. So, and you see that at the center of this model, of this environment, you have the business glossary, because I think the key point is being sure that we are talking the same language, because it will help also to break down silos and to be sure that we are at the same page. So this is this one-stop shop, and it is a collaborative knowledge base that we want to want to promote there, and that we want to promote. And if you go to the next slide, the idea is really to onboard all the level of the companies, because I think this is about transformation of the company. So onboarding from the executive committee to any data producer or consumer is important. So you have to set the ambition of data excellence, of making data fit for purpose, in conjunction with the strategic objective of the company. You have to create the accountability of senior management, because these guys will be the domain owners and will be accountable to make data fit for purpose for their colleagues, in fact. And this is where you break silos also. It's also a question of and there the technology will be important. It's a question of transforming, the role of data steward from a victim to a champion, meaning that we have to help him with some AI functionalities, etc., to help the data steward in his work. But we have also to empower this data steward as a champion who is bringing value to business purpose and to business objective. And for anybody in the company, we have to integrate this one-stop shop in the business as usual, in terms of checking the quality, in terms of collaborating, because they need new data, they want access to data, etc., etc. So this was what I wanted to highlight before give the hand to Marco with one of our senior sales engineer, and he will dig into this data integrity suite, where he will show some functionalities. But as Tim has said before, we have a broad coverage in terms of functionality and capabilities in this platform. So I will leave Marco present a part of these capabilities.
All right, thanks, Jean-Paul, for the introduction. And let me take a quick break, or let me show you what I'm basically trying to present at the first stage. So I will jump into the product just in a second, but I will start basically in terms of how do you find basically data, and how do you get some initial understanding of the data or the assets or whatever you're looking for within our service, as well as how do you know if you could trust whatever you find. So this is the first step I would like to do. So I will jump into the product. So it's now visible on the screen. And typically the first thing you may want to do is just search for whatever information you might be interested in, what we are looking for. And as soon as you start typing, you do get a list of the different items that we have found. So you can either navigate from here, or you can also click on the magnification class, and then you get more details from all the assets that we have found. There's also an easy way to filter on it. But I will start using the first item here right at the top. So I do get already some highlights being identified. And I will come to those elements that you have seen here on the screen later on in the demo. So I'm just picking the first, the customer information basically, which brings me now to a glossary entry. So that's a business term called customer, as you can see here at the top. And I would like to start first with what we call the impact diagram. And this impact diagram is pretty much the view that we have just seen on the slide provided by Jean-Paul. Because on that single screen, you can see what impact or what relation this one business term, this glossary entry has within my whole organization. So I do see here in the middle the business term itself, so the customer. So I can highlight it, and I do see all the other items related to that one, just within that single view. And I can then see this business term is related to a goal, it's related to metrics, it's related to objects. It's also related to other technical items. as well as to a data product where I will come later on. And if I'm interested in any of those informations, I do have the information panel that I can open on the right-hand side, which shows me the details of that asset. And let me basically allow also to continue and navigating through that area, pretty simple and pretty easy. So with that one, I do get basically quite a good overview in just a single view. What is there, what is related to that item. So maybe now I have a good understanding of the element itself, so the asset itself, but the question is then, how can I trust it? Could I use it? Is it good for fit for purpose, as Jean-Paul also mentioned? And I do have various different information to know if it's really a good asset or maybe if it's just in a construction or draft mode. So I do have, for example, here the status. And this one, the status is called certified, which means in our terms, it has been drafted. There has an approval process going on. So it got approved by the business within my organization. So that one is the first indicator that this one item has a good status. As well as I do see here at the top right, two different scores. One is a governance score and the other is a quality score, which also helps me to understand, well, is that data really fit for purpose? Can I use it? And if I would like to get a better understanding of how the score basically is being built, I do have that the different items here visible on the screen. So my definition, and that's fully flexible and you can customize it. So you can create your own needs or your own scorings, your own weightings. And in my case, it needs to have a data domain assigned, a definition, so which is a description. I need to have a data owner or a data steward, and the status needs to be certified. If all this is true, then it sums up to 100%. And I can go back in history. So I'm just going back, and I do see at some stage there was no domain assigned. So therefore, the quality was not 100%. And the same is then also true for data quality scoring. So you can create or you can define what data quality checks should happen with that asset, with that term. And then you can also weight it accordingly, and then you get the different scores. And that's possible basically for every single asset within our environment. So what we have just seen is basically how to search for data and how to get an understanding of the asset, of the element, and basically also knowing, can I trust it? Is it certified or not? So the next one is now, how do I understand basically, maybe I need to even have more insights, more details in that. And then the other question is, how do I know maybe where is the data coming from? What other departments, teams are maybe involved into that area? And this is what I would like to show you next in our tool. So I'm still working with the same assets. So we're still on the business term customer. So there is one option basically where you can easily collaborate with your colleagues. So there's a comment option. So I can then tag people, put something in, raise some question, ask them something, and this will of course then pop up in their inbox, and they can easily comment back on that. So that's how you can very easily just comment on it, just put a question in there or whatever you would like to do. I can also get some more insights basically if I go back to the or if I look at the definition tab, which is slightly different view than the diagram. So the impact diagram gives you also all the information in there. But this also tells me, for example, some details in terms of keywords and sensitivity level. And these two elements are something that we could use where we use in the background AI technology to automatically tag the elements, automatically identify, maybe is that sensitive data, so is it an email, is it a bank account that is in there? So that's what we are able to do and identify automatically, as well as it allows me or attach, of course, the business term to a specific data domain. And within that data domain, I can then start drilling down into it even further. So just clicking on it, and I do get, again, on the right-hand side, all the details that relates to that customer 360 domain. And within there, I may find, oh, you see, there's a data product related to it. So I can use it here and navigate from there to the data product to get a better understanding of the data product. Again, similar view like what we have seen before. For data products, I also have an asset rating. We again identify automatically if that maybe contains PII data, so again, sensitive data. So that's also visible right here on the screen. And if I would like to understand, well, you know what, where is my data product basically coming from, or how is it moving, or how is the data moving within my organization, I can also then pick up a lineage diagram, so a lineage view. And that oops, sorry for that. Where is my screen? There we go. So I can also use a lineage view, which is more a technical view rather than a business view. So that's more taking a look now at the technical asset. So where does the data resides in terms of that is using my data product. So and I can here see with that view, it started with a SQL database. So it's coming from a MS SQL database. I then do see, well, the data is being copied from that platform basically into a Snowflake instance. So Snowflake instance table called customer, and then the journey even continues. So I can click on it. I then do see there are some data quality steps involved. So I do most likely with that step improve the quality. So making sure I do have a better data quality score for that one. And then I can also see that my data moves then in another staging table. So with that, that information allows me basically to understand how is the data moving across the organization, maybe across different departments, different teams, as well as I still have the possibility to drill down into details. So if I would like to know, well, you know what, who is the data owner of this table? So I can then even click on that and also blend in the data owner. Or if I would like to see for the other one, who is basically the data steward. So that's also possible. So I can also get some business assets, if we put it that way, or some other metadata being blended in to that view. So this one basically really allows me then, as I said, to get a better understanding of where the data is moving, where the data is coming from, etc. So what we have now just seen is in terms of getting even a more detailed insights into your data. So there is various different metadata that is available or that can be made available in the solution. There is a comment functionality where you can easily exchange questions with your colleagues without the need to jump to an email address or things like that. And then, of course, you will see how the data is moving within my organization and still getting insights into other pieces if you need and if you like to understand it. And then the whole data stewardship basically question is also then coming. So that's basically my last part I would like to show. So now that we understood the different information is, the question is basically how does all the data or how does all the metadata is coming into the solution, into the tool. That's something I would like to highlight. And then remember to take some action on the data as well, or on that specific data product. So going back into the solution, into the product, I will start telling you there are different ways on how to get basically data into our solution. So one is, of course, while we are harvesting the different data sources, so the technical assets. So that's a fully automated process where you get the schemas, the table, the fields, the stored procedures, all these kind of things into our solution. As well as there are, of course, different other ways how you can get data in. There is, for example, the way that you could use APIs. So if you want to get data from other sources, so you could use API functionalities in there as well, or you can use so-called a bulk loader, which allows you basically to import Excel files and also put content into the environment that way. And last but not least, you can always, of course, create informations manually. So our meta model is also flexible. It comes with a framework, with a basis, and then you can extend it, adopt it in every to every need, to every regards you're looking for.
So 1 minute left.
All right, yeah, that's perfect, because I'm basically on my last item I want to cover here. So now that we understood, or now that we found the information we are looking for, now we understood basically all the other different elements, how it's linked to the organization. I want to take some action and say, well, you know what, I do need to have access to this data, because I do need it for my for my job, for my business. And what I can do is here at the top right, there is a take action button. So what I can do is I'm just simply click on that take action button, and I say, well, I would like to request access to this data, and then I can say, please grant me access. And this will trigger a workflow in the background, assigning it to the responsible person, who can then either grant me the access or decline the access as well. So with that was just I would say, a quick rush, a high-level overview of what is possible. There is many more elements, but running out of time, of course, we are not able to cover all of that in the meeting today. But yeah, I'm happy to take, I would say now some questions, now that we know, also have seen a little bit of insights of the data stewardship here, now for the questions.
Yes, Jean-Paul, Marco, thank you very much. I really like the structure of your presentation. You are really assigned to the task I've presented before. I really appreciate it. Thanks, thanks a lot. So, but let's come to the question. We have one question. So it's an interesting question, I would say. What about housekeeping in the comment area over time? Any sort of archiving, historization, or do I keep all comments forever?
Well, there is, well, yeah, you can of course keep all the comments forever if you like, but that may of course end up with a long history and a long list. So that's again fully up to you how you would like to either to keep them, or of course there's always way either to manually delete them, or just say to maybe archive them somewhere else, or also to automate it, get them deleted, everything that is older maybe than 6 months, things like that. So you can, for example, also use our APIs to automate those kind of tasks if you like.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that. One additional question on that. Comments. Oh, I lost my thought. Sorry for that. But just wondering, also, is it also indexed and searchable? That was written in the comments.
Yeah, it is. As Marco mentioned, it is API-able, so you can access it through API and make your search or your or sort it or try to find some specific comments in the platform. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, time for one last question just coming in here. How does the tool deal with connecting to S/4HANA systems? How can I easily get overview, prioritize on relevant objects and tables among thousands of table, technical or business process relevant?
Good question.
Well, definitely a good question. And I think there are two answers I would say to it. So one is, of course, from the technical side. It's all about, of course, what you would like to harvest. So you can either say, well, harvest the whole S4HANA database, which might be not the best approach. Like whatever, you have thousands and millions of tables within the organization, I think, which most of the bigger companies do have. It's not the idea, of course, to get everything that you have right at the beginning into your catalog and harvest everything. And this is where basically Jean-Paul comes into play, who then helps or could help to say, well, what needs to be prioritized? So which one are the most critical elements? So, and if I don't need, or if the company doesn't know, how do I get there? How do I identify it? And in order to start, with the critical one and not just harvesting, because I technically can harvest everything. Jean-Paul, if you want to add something to that.
No, again, it's very linked to to our business first approach. So we try to first focus on the data we need before focusing on the data we have. So and that's where we put the filters on what we want to harvest in terms of technical metadata. Yeah.
Great, thanks for that. So, because we are running out of time, let me say big thank you. Great presentation, great insights, and I really enjoyed that you attend here this webinar. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. And to our audience, I would also like to say a big thank you to all of you for your interest and attendance. And if you have any question, please reach out to us. We are happy to forward the question or answer them directly. And at last, I would like to draw your attention to our event that's taking place at the beginning of October, the Heart of Data Mesh and Fabric. If you would like to discuss with me in more detail, or if you would like to also get in touch with customers who already implemented or are implementing data catalog, data intelligence solutions, to share their insights there. We have also some interesting keynote speakers there and presentations from the customer side. They are sharing their experiences. Will be a great show there and a great point to connect with best practices out there. And Jana already placed it in the chat here. We have also a special present for you here. Take the CU while the registration process, and you get 10% off here. So happy that you joined here the webinar. I wish you all the very best. Have a nice day and hope to talk to you soon. Bye bye.